Speaking on his LBC show, former UKIP leader Nigel Farage claimed the former Prime Minister's anti-Brexit speech at the UK in a Changing Europe's Article 50 conference in central London proved Remainers were starting to sound repetitive and to look silly. After playing a short recording of Mr. Blair's speech, Mr. Farage said, he went on to say that he wanted Parliament to vote down the deal, to force a second referendum, but he also said that if that does not happen and if we don't get a second referendum, he will stop talking about Europe. That's kind of what I call an incentive, that's my view. I spoke at that conference later on in the afternoon, and I've been around TV studios on Good Morning Britain debating with Lord Adonis, and I was one of those people who 4 or 5 months ago I was really concerned. I could see a never-ending string of Remainers going to Brussels, meeting Mr. Barnier. I could see through the news feed every week that the Remain campaign was highly organised. They even started their own newspaper last year. Brexit News. Farage slams Tony Blair's anti-Brexit speech at Article 50 conference. Tony Blair and Lord Adonis are actually not only sounding repetitive, they're looking a little bit silly. Nigel Farage and I was really getting fearful that a second referendum may well be forced upon us. But you know, today, sitting next to Adonis and appearing on that stage after Tony Blair, I began to look at people calling for a second referendum, and I've become to think, you know what? They're actually not only sounding repetitive, they're looking a little bit silly. And much of this backed up in a survey called on by Comrades for the Daily Express published today. 68% of Britons think that those who voted against quitting the EU should respect the majority view. Remarkably, 38% of people who voted Remain in 2016 referendum now agree the Leave vote should be respected. And 68% support the government getting on and delivering Brexit. So we're nearing 70% of the country which thinks that we should get on and deliver Brexit. At the conference, the former Prime Minister argued that Theresa May is trying to avoid spelling out the detail of her plans until we are irreversibly out of Europe. Mr. Blair said Parliament will have the chance to change the direction of the process by legislating for another referendum on the terms of the Brexit deal. The ex-PM added, people say that there will be disillusion if Brexit doesn't happen. Personally, I doubt this if it is the result of a fresh say on the final deal. But even if true, the bigger disillusion will be when those who voted for Brexit because they feared the future shaped by free market globalization realize they are now conscripts in an adventure to embrace it more fully. This is the awesome responsibility which now rests with Parliament. Mr. Blair also said there was a dilemma about whether the UK would continue to have a close relationship with the EU, or whether there would be a more abrupt departure. He said that decision could change the whole nature of the debate. If you solve the dilemma in favour of staying close to Europe, you're going to disappoint the Brexit people, and if you go to the other side and end up with a clean break, then you're going to do significant damage, and business is going to be saying that, he said. At a certain point, they're going to have to resolve it. The moment that happens, you're able to see what Brexit really means. He added, what I'm really saying is, it's such a momentous decision, let's reconsider when we see the deal. If we go ahead and leave, that's okay, you'll hear no more about changing the decision from me.